For cheap gold, items and other boosts for Diablo 4, visit aoeah.com. Check out the link in the description, you get 3% off with the code ARIAD. Hello and welcome everybody. In this guide I'm going to show you a really powerful Barb build that runs T100 nightmare dungeons fast and easy and blasts most people away in PvP. So that's my Thorns Barb. There are several variants, and I will also work out the good double swing Thorn build, which can be even more powerful. But the nice thing about this build here is that it hardly needs any Uber Unix. The Thorns Barb is also a very convenient character in Helltide, because almost everything bursts by a simple shout. Besides, you can be safe while looking at the map in between. The monsters only kill themselves when they attack you. Let me first briefly explain the basic concept. We'll only need one Uber Unix for my build, and that's the Melted Heart of Zelig. Our Fury will be like a shield, so when we are attacked, we lose Fury first before the life orb is scratched. We'll attack with a basic attack, so we won't consume any Fury at all, and we'll permanently recharge it. We'll leave the damage to our Thorns, so we'll put in as many Thorns as possible, and primarily go for close damage and berserking damage. The needle flare aspect provides area damage, and with the Vampiric Power Hemomancy we can burst enemies by a scream or the use of Steel Grasp. The damage scales with the health points, and as we will see in the skill tree in a moment, we also get more Thorns by more life points. So life is a priority in the affixes and in the Paragon system. Apart from that, damage reduction is of course also useful to become more tanky, and Fury as well as resource generation are also important to make the Barb almost immortal. Of course we would also like to have 9200 armor for PvP and 70% resistance each to lightning, fire and poison. Here you can also see how high the attack value of my Barb stacks as soon as all his buffs are activated. But now let's take a closer look at everything, step by step. Once again, we are going to play Combat Lunging Strike for 3 good reasons. We'll generate a lot of Fury, we get berserking, and we can charge at enemies. Tactical Rallying Cry at level 1, so we can also get a resource boost in emergency, and Strategic Challenging Shot also at 1, so we get a considerable amount of Thorns when using it. Plus 3 each in the passive skills Imposing Presence, Martial Vigor, Outburst and Tough as Nails. Then Enhanced War Cry at 1 and the passive skills Booming Voice, Guttural Yell, Aggressive Resistance and Prolific Fury at 3 each. Then I have Fighter's Steel Grasp, so we can also get into Berserker mode by using the chains and make enemies vulnerable. Plus 3 points each in Pit Fighter and Counter-Offensive. We use the ultimate skill Supreme Wrath of the Berserker and finally put 3 in Concussion. So when using a mace, we can stun opponents. In PvP this is no longer as strong as last season, because everyone can make himself unstoppable easy, but it can be enough to disrupt the opponent's rhythm. The key passive is Unconstrained. We play with Lunging Strike and Steel Grasp on the mouse buttons and the shouts plus ultimate skill on the keys, and we should ensure that we execute our attack with the one-handed weapons, for faster attacking. In the expertise, choose the Polearm Mastery. The skill tree looks like this, you can find a planner link in the description below. Here you can see the Paragon overview. I worked on the arrangement for a long time. I tried to get as much life, damage reduction and berserking damage as possible. For this purpose, the glyph Ire is in the starting board. The Warbringer board mainly boosts our Fury budget. I've socketed Bloodfeeder here. Blood Rage is also a strong board, not only because of the legendary node. Here we socket Ambidextrous to increase the damage reduction. Then comes the board Carnage with the Glyph Marshal, which increases the damage reduction against close enemies, just like on my double swing Barb. We continue with Decimator because we can take a lot of life here, and the Glyph Imbiber is a good damage boost. Finally Bonebreaker, again for life and further damage reduction from the Glyph Territorial and the Rare node. Now the Vampiric Powers. Ravenous and Moonrise provide attack speed, which is important to recharge Fury faster. Jagged Spikes are nice for huge damage peaks in between. And Undying is actually kinda superfluous in most situations, but if some damage passes the mana shield, we just recharge life quickly. Hemomancy provides some area damage ticks, just as mentioned at the beginning. By the way, I have set my pacts in a pattern so that I can swap one of the last two Vampiric Powers to Metamorphosis at any time, without having to change something about the gear. That is pretty nice. Finally the items. On the helmet, life, fury, armor and attack speed with basic attacks would be the best. I play the aspect for extra stunts, however you could also play with the defensive aspect of Numbing Wrath to build up more Fortify. If you have, you could also use the Harlequin crest of course. Yoritz would also be worth considering because it gives maximum fury, and the aspect also fits well with the build, because we can get berserking in so many different ways. Razorblade gives us lots of Thorns. Alternatively, damage reduction life and Thorns would also be a variant. For characters that don't have 9200 armor yet, the Disobedience aspect would also be great for stacking further armor. On the gloves we want attack speed, primary resource on lucky hits, and IAS after dodging. We have to roll this affix by a rogue. I use the elemental aspect here, that's new. I still had berserk ripping while making the recordings, but this one is even better. Life, Thorns and damage reduction are great affixes for the pants, adding armor and or dodge chance. I'm playing the aspect of might here. On the shoes we want to have movement speed and resistances, and since opponents often make themselves unstoppable in PvP, the Exploiter's aspect is great. You could also use some shoes with dodge chance to trigger the dodging attack speed from the gloves more often. On the weapons, strength, all stats, berserking damage and damage to close enemies are a priority. And the Thorn aspect must definitely be on a two-handed weapon. On the one-handed weapon, I play the Needle Flare aspect to transfer the Thorn's damage to many targets. For a pure PvE, it would maybe even make sense to put it on the second two-handed weapon. Inner Calm is also very strong to get a huge boost in duels against other melee fighters, where you stand on the spot for a lot. Finally, the Rapid aspect is on my two-handed slashing weapon, which gives us a lot more attack speed. On the rings, Assimilation aspect and Bold Chieftain or Berserk Fury. We want to have life and fury here again, plus resource generation and ideally berserking damage. The amulet is the heart of Zelig, as discussed at the beginning. The playstyle is very easy. Challenging Shout plus Berserking activates maximum Thorns, and you save the rallying cry for situations when you get hit hard. We get into berserking by Warcry, lunging strike, steel grasp, and of course the ultimate. If all bonuses trigger, you can achieve a very high attack value. Other Uber uniques that you can add are definitely the Doombringer, which gives us a decent life boost, and thus also increases the Thorns and Hemomancy, so that would be the most important upgrade. Unfortunately, I'm still missing that weapon. A Harlequin crest is of course also a nice option, but mainly because of the damage reduction. The 4 skill points don't help that much here. A Grandfather might also be an option, because he gives us a great life boost, but then you give up a strong aspect, and unfortunately the Thorns don't really benefit from critical strike damage. So Grandfather maybe would be more useful when making a double swing Thorns build. I will work on that soon. I think the gameplay footage speaks for itself. I'll say goodbye at this point, take care and may the loot be with you.
Touch that guy.
Follow me. Come on. Thanks. Bye.